All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. We have been having a great time. That last match was just absolutely outstanding. This is, if you're just joining us, you can see from the screen here, this is week 3. Bear Jr. Poops in the Woods versus Bat. Bear Jr. Poops in the Woods just had an amazing come from behind victory in that first game there. Guys, what do you think?
Bear Jr. is a god.
I mean, yeah, just a lot of great hooks there at the end. We saw everything kind of accumulating that we were talking about, that vision control. They're able to get multiple great picks from Barrett Jr. Just hooks over the wall. You see him throwing the lantern back, getting his team in there, and starting that initiation. Something that you really do need to be concerned about going into this next game if you're PMA Titties. I mean, Bear Jr. is the captain of the team. He's arguably one of the better players on the team, if not, as you were saying, in the league. I mean, you have to be careful. Maybe not the flashiest plays for all of them, but consistent plays and consistent hooks, especially on a support like Thresh, are going to be what really starts to take over a game. And when you have these aggressive outplay champions like Lee Sin, you saw a couple of flays come through, some lanterns. I mean, even the Vigor has that Zanya's used to pretty great effect. A lot of great answers coming through from Bear Jr. Poops in the Woods and friends. Just very difficult to try to play against.
Yeah, and if anything else, like, we're not going to close the vote yet. We'll give it a little bit of a moment, but like the player of the game poll pretty much spells exactly that. Bear Jr. 6 votes, 1 vote each for one person voted for the option that didn't exist. Whoever you are, you're a really big troll. And then a vote for Hillary Clinton. It was probably the Toe guy, Director Toe. Odo Nation supports our thought. What a strange fellow you are. So yeah, game 1 MVP. It's looking like Bear Jr. Oh well, rip. We don't need casters. I'm going to bed. Bye, guys. Oh. Oh my gosh! But they can't ban. But like, his Blitzcrank's even better.
I mean, you can either go with the Thresh or you can start banning out. I would love to see a Misfortune ban come through. It's one of the strongest picks right now. Misfortune will work with anybody. I mean, you can take away the Thresh, you can take away the Blitzcrank, you can put him onto Soraka, and it's still going to be a devastating pick in that bottom lane. So I'd like to see that respect come across, and maybe they prioritize a first pick Misfortune or they ban it. But I think if you don't do that with POO right now, you're just not playing the game you need to be playing.
Yeah, and
okay, so we had a missed ban on the side of POO. I think there was a there definitely was a miscommunication on the start time of the pick and bans, but it was a Nidalee ban for that third ban for the record.
It's going to be the Misfortune takeaway for Beginning My Teams, actually. So they don't ban it; they're going to take it away. I think it's really smart. I mean,
like you were saying earlier, you either have I think it is in Guy Fieri's stream, either you first pick it or you ban it.
See, that's what I said about Ezreal. But Misfortune actually might, I think, be gaining some more priority over the Ezreal just because of how much it can do late game. And it's really hard for an Ezreal to team fight into a Misfortune. Like, and again, we're going to see Ezreal not pick a ban in this match. I'm really intrigued by that. But I mean,
and here comes the Bard.
Yeah, the thing I'm more interested about.
That's actually a flex pick, though. That's hilarious.
Is why is there that focus on picking away that Lee Sin? As we just saw, I mean, the Lee Sin's good and he had some great effect, but we just saw Lee Sin get that first loss and that Misfortune continue to be a dominating force. I think Misfortune's one of the highest pick rates right now in the league.
We're going to see Sebastian's Chase. Oh,
there
man.
we go. So I think when you're talking about the Lee Sin, in fact, Labyrinth may be falling into a trap that maybe won't backfire on him this week, but if teams are smart, they'll realize that in every single game that POO has played, week 1, 2, and 3, he has picked the Maokai in the first game and the Lee Sin in the second game. And I think if people start to pick up on that, that could spell trouble for him.
See, but it's hard though, because like you have to come up with Lee Sin counters against this guy, because you can't afford to ban the Lee Sin with things like Humars and Nivi. This is a very I'm not saying they're one tricks, obviously, but it's
you can't ban out this POO team, this POO team. Each one of them has mains.
You almost have to ban Here, Mars and Nivea, Blitzcrank.
Well, even though the Lee Sin may be a strong pick, why do you give up that misfortune that we just saw that random guy was devastating them with? I mean, getting out great damage, really contributing to the team. And when you compare the performance or the threat level from that random guy versus Opie in that last game, I mean, Opie was having trouble getting into fights, as we said, and it may have been the tank's fault, it may have been positioning. Regardless, we didn't see much damage coming across. Now you're going to go ahead and give that pick over to Opie. They're either saying they're not worried about it and they think that that random guy will be able to just go ahead and take off with Tristana, or they're really prioritizing that Lee Sin that much more heavily. I'm just not sure I'm convinced right now that Lee Sin's that much more of a priority pick over Misfortune right now in the current state.
Right. I 100% agree, because there's other junglers that can do what Lee Sin does. You can go with the Elise, you can go with Jarvan, you can go with Vi. There's other junglers who can do the type of like level 3 I'm going to invade, level 2 I'm going to invade, level 2 or 3 I'm going to gank. Like there's plenty of junglers that have that capability, so you don't have to have it be Lee Sin. I guess like, and we're going to see this is going to be a very cool game to watch because General Dill's Vi is very good. The team name for his team in the first split actually was Team Vi. They were Team 6, so it's stuck, and I believe they chose it because 3 members of their team all, like, when they played jungle, mained Vi. so kind of fun with that.
Just for the audience's sake, for the record, that last ban on the side of Big Anime Titties was a Vigar ban. Vigar? I don't really know how to say it.
Either way.
I'm pretty sure this is going to be the first champion not named Anivia or Vigar that we're seeing Hiramar on.
Ooh.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and what I think teams are going to start picking up on, and this POO team, they like to play their mains. Each one of them has about three or four, less than 3 mains, really. And so we're seeing the Lee Sin again. We're seeing the Tristana again. Bard is a new one. Victor is a new one. So they are off of their comfort champs, and that, we'll see. But we get the Susan once again out. So it's going to be
it's going to be Bard for Bear Jr., which is also a new one. Like
the Azir. What?
Yeah, the thing I really like with this Victor pick actually is it has great synergy with the Bard. If Bard hits a good ultimate for Engage, you're going to see that field that, I always forget the name of his field, Graviton Field or something like that, I believe.
I think it's just Gravity Field, yeah.
Yeah, he's going to be able to just lock down everybody coming out of that stasis, and it's going to be really, really devastating.
I heard you guys talking a little bit about the first draft for Big Anime Titties being Comfort. This is Comfort.
This was POO. We were talking about POO being Comfort, I think, but keep going.
This is Comfort for Big Enemy Titties.
Keep going. Yeah.
Bad Instincts. This might be the first time he's gotten to play Jace in the PMA LCS since the infamous game where he played Jace into Front Lash's Kale and ended the game like 11-1. And ever since, that champion's just been banned.
Yeah, and you want to talk about a champion who really benefited from this Runes Reforged change. I mean, Jace has already been a hyper lane bully for as long as he's existed. If you just kind of rotate back and forth with the EQ in your laning, you're going to have huge damage coming across. You take away everybody else's ability to survive that early and then even beef up some of the abilities. I wouldn't be surprised to see Jace going down that precision tree, and the scaling, his W in his ranged form is just built to work off of that 3-shot damage increase.
I will say I'm pretty sure Bad Instincts is going to be going Electrocute. He is always, even when Storm Raiders was the thing to go on the old Mastery setup, he was always a Thunderlords guy on Jace. We talk back and forth about this champ. I highlighted earlier, like Sebastian and I have gone a lot of times in lane talking about champs.
Hold the phone here. I think we do see the Bard being picked up for the top lane, which I think they might trade it. I think they might be trolling.
It's not going to be an Nessa support.
No. I think that they are definitely putting Bard in the bottom lane. Bard can go top lane, but especially looking at the picks,
so the chat.
They don't have any other support.
It would be some new meta-shaking picks to send Nasus as support and really starve him of the Q farm that he's looking for.
Hold on. Oh, they're hovering. See, these guys love to tempt fate with the Riot spaghetti code here. With the trades, and I think we saw it last week with POO, with them swapping the trades between all their champions. It was nerve-wracking to say the least. Nobody wants to ever remake a lobby.
Yeah. But talking about Comfort still, like, Jingo Unchained, I've played many a game with him on the Azir, and his Azir is very good. he showed that his Zed was solid. Like he showed his Zed was good. It's just a matter of for Nolan, making sure that he can stay safe, and while you're trying to do your job, making sure you do it in a way that makes it happen. And I think it's going to be easier for him to do on Azir because you can stay at such a farther range. And Alistair is Gert's like that is his champion. When you think of Gert, you think of Alistair.
And it almost looks like Big Anime Titties was kind of, like you said, ready for that Lee Sin pick, and they may have been baiting it out. They have a lot of great tools to deal with that Lee Sin trying to get in and initiate. The first of which, you don't really want to see an Azir wall coming out just to block Lee Sin, but Lee Sin's not getting around that wall. If there's a wall in between him and Azir, he's going to have to find some new pathing to get around it. You've also got the Alistair, who has the ability to use that combo. The headbutt pulverize combo is going to keep Lee Sin pretty locked down.
And Jace can knock him away. Vi can knock him up. Vi can ult Lee Sin. Like you're right. There's so much fairly simple, straightforward CC to answer the Lee Sin. It's not going to be as flashy as flaying Lee Sin out of his Q like Bear Jr. did, but they definitely have the tools to work with.
You've also got a lot of good, consistent poke coming out on the side of Big Anime Titties. You've got Jace as a poke monster. Now, if you do have Bear Jr. and friends getting in there, I mean, they have a lot of damage that they can drop quickly. Tristana, hyper carry, getting into the late game again, and they take that Nasus on Hillary Clinton. I think we're going to see a very similar approach to the game. Just try to get to the point where they can let Nasus be a big threat, see what else they can do. They may try to enable that to snowball a little bit faster with the Lee Sin pick, but I still think you have to be very careful about getting together for those team fights, because if one person doesn't pull their weight and really get a priority pick there, you're going to see Big Anime Titties really be able to control these team fights.
Absolutely. I mean, the team fight potential of Azir, Misfortune, Alistair alone is nuts. And then you have Jace damage on top of it and Vi to clean up the stragglers. Like, man, that's a very strong comp. And I'm not saying that, like, POO didn't have an equally strong comp. They're kind of in this. I don't know that they're in the same boat. They're in a similar boat as Big Anime Titties were last game, because I think Vi will outscale Lee Sin. Vi will do more in the late game. Chase Nasus, I think, scales equally. It's just a matter of what the champions are doing at that time. Azir should outscale Victor. This is an old school Season 5 matchup. I remember when Azir Victor was literally mid lane every game in LCS. Now that I think back on it, that was a very boring meta for me.
Yeah. Now, right as we're about to get loading into this, what I'm concerned about, where do you think the action is going to start? I mean, Joystick, if you take a look at these team comps, where do you think we're going to see the most action early on?
Oh, you're throwing it to me.
I have the answer, but go ahead.
No, sure.
No, you talk.
Yeah. I think, gosh, that's a tough call. I think we're going to see Lee Sin try to gank the Jace top first.
Hey, that's what's going to happen.
Mostly because I've played hundreds of games with Labyrinth, and that's what he likes to do. Maybe he would be mad giving away his secret strats, but it's really not hard to say. I mean, he does it almost every game. But
it's not even that. Like, it's simpler than that. Taking his tendencies outside of it.
Yeah.
Nasus is going to get shoved in. Jace is going to shove. Bad Instincts on this Jace is going to play very aggressive from level 1. I know that from my experience playing with him for hundreds of games.
Yeah, I think the thing you have to be careful of there is if this Vi is good with her pathing, if General Dill, again, being kind of the leader of that team, if he's got his head together, he can definitely swing that matchup. And Vi is one of the champions that early on, if Lee Sin kind of catches you off guard in your jungle, you may have some problems. But Vi definitely doesn't have any problems throwing down early. And we may be able to see a good counter gank coming in here. And that is the last thing you want happening. If you get a double buff donated over to Jace, or even just a kill donated over to Jace, that Nasus is going to be in a world of pain for the first couple of waves.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we're just about to get into this game, so let's go through the matchups here. In the top lane, we have Hillary Clinton on the Nasus. In the jungle, on the side of POO, we have Labyrinth on the Lee Sin, yet again. In the mid lane, we have Hiramar taking something new with the Victor, that random guy you know on the Tristana, accompanied by Bear Jr. on the Fabled Bard pick. On the top lane, on the side of Bat, we have Bad Instincts on the Jace, General Dill on the Vi, Jingo Unchained on the Azir, Opie on the Misfortune, and Gert on the Alistar. So we are loading onto the Rift right now, ladies and gentlemen. So, you know what? Let's get into the chat here, and let's see some hashtag poo win or hashtag bat win. Or if you're just feeling it, hashtag bat poo, because it's fun.
Or hashtag Guy Fieri win. I'm sure I'm not going to get any.
Let's you know what? While we're loading, let's talk to the casters. So let's get some predictions. I'm going to start this time with Sam. What do you think predictions?
This is a difficult thing because again,
you can do an if or this happens.
Oh no, I won't do it. I'll stick to one. My heart wants to go out to Big Anime Titties. I like the picks. I like what they're going for. But I mean, we look at the last game, and again, I was looking at it. I thought General Dill had a great idea. Had the Lee Sin really started taking over the early game. I mean, but the stats kind of speak for themselves at this. You've got POO is leading the league in so many of the stats. Again, third highest in KDA. They have, in 3/4 of the games, they've played First Blood. Huge amount of towers, 70% of dragons taken. I mean, all of these stats exist for a reason. It's because they're able to stay in the games. They're able to get these late games out. And we have another late game scaling team where, as much as Misfortune can be a problem, I am really kind of scared to see what that random guy is going to do with this Tristana as we get into it. So I'm going to actually have to throw it to POO for this one.
Guy Fieri, what do you think?
I'm going to be real. I was reading the Twitch chat, seeing if there's anything we should catch up on, so I didn't hear
hashtag. Yeah, we got hashtag toes.
Yeah.
Whoever this toes guy is, we got to keep him. I like him.
Yeah, you're the new mascot of the PMA LCS. I really don't have the grounds or the power to make that happen, so don't get excited. I think I got to give this one to POO still. I think because and it's only because I know Bad Instincts' tendencies on the Jace, and I worry that that's gonna harm him. The question is if Labyrinth knows Bad Instincts' tendencies on the Jace. I'm sure Gert has or no, wait. Yeah, see, none of them. Hillary Clinton's the only one who really has experience with Bad Instincts' Jace. So I'm sure he's told him, like, yo, come top level 3, I'll take Wither level 2, I'll Wither him, get the slow, it's a free kill. But, like, I just am curious if POO is prepared enough for this champion. But I still think it's going to go to POO. I think Virgin is a humongous playmaker, and it's really hard to beat this man at a game of League of Legends. So,
all right, ladies and gentlemen, we are loaded onto the Rift here. We're waiting to see these champions summon on. We are in week 3, game 2 of POO versus Bat. Bear Jr. Poops in the Woods versus Big Anime Titties, with POO taking game 1 here. What a game that was as well, too. So hopefully we get to see something equally as exciting this time. And here they are, headed down the lanes. If only we had the cool camera tricks that Riot has. I love that stuff that they added.
Oh my gosh. I love it when they, like, take it to, like, first-person view. It is so fun when they do that. And, like, you see, like, you're just standing there next to the champions, and they're... I love that stuff.
All right, and we're seeing pretty standard setup here for the early lanes. I think we're seeing just Anime Titties is looking for that invade, just being ready to respond if needed, but shouldn't see anything too crazy coming out here.
Oh,
yeah, I wouldn't expect anything from the level 1 from either side, honestly. Alistar feels really bad level 1. You either get to get into the fights or you get to disrupt the fights.
Now, what I'd like to see here, I want to see Labyrinth either take double buff really quickly, get up top if that Jace is pushed in, or even maybe take this red, see if you can't beat Vi to her red, and then try to punish. That's going to be one of the weak points of this jungle clear for Vi. She's not going to have all of her abilities yet. She's not going to be as strong as scrapping, and that's where Lee Sin can really abuse that, and then snowball it further into an advantage for Hillary.
I could see potentially, we talked about the top lane level 3 gank, I could even see potentially level 2 gank here from Lavi to mid lane, depending on how this first part of the lane plays out against Jingo. We blow a flash or heal, get a little bit of advantage for Hirmar. It doesn't have to get a kill, but just the pressure and the advantage is kind of what you're looking for at that point. And Azir does have the early push on Victor, especially level 1, since Victor wants to take his Q and not his E. which means Azir's AoE is just better at level 1, and it is actually not going to be that. It's going to be a pretty standard Red Wolves Blue so far here for Labyrinth, although he might end up going, like you said, for the invade on the red. It's essentially the same exact path that General Dill took last game, so he's probably wary of it, and Lavi's just going to play it safe, take his blue, and so we're seeing completely mirrored paths. We see Buff Wolves buff for both junglers, and they're both going to end up top lane level 3, so I think something spicy is about to happen. I don't know what y'all think, but...
I don't know. Jace is pushing up, definitely putting some damage out. So there is the ability for Lee Sin to come in off this gank. We see Vi just finished up red, same time Lee is. He's going up top of the gank.
The Raptors.
Yeah, and we may see that Instinct's in a little bit of trouble here. He's playing a little bit scared.
Here's the Wither.
He knows
Here's
something
the
may be
Wither.
coming.
Position. The Wither comes out. The flash comes out as well. He misses the Q.
good
Bad
dodge.
Instincts dodges it, knocks away the Lee Sin, and there's nothing really they could do about it. Well played by Bad Instincts.
Absolutely. He outplayed that so well.
The fancy
It's like-
footwork there coming out from Jace. Can't touch this.
And knocking away the
Da-da-da-da.
Lee Sin with the red buff. I mean,
That was the
excellently
right
played.
push to knock away, too, because Hillary Clinton's not going to kill him there. Labyrinth's going to kill him there.
Yeah, nothing too much coming out here. Just Lee Sin applying some of that pressure again, looking for Vi early on. The good news there is Vi does get a little bit of a farm advantage. Just another camp cleared while Lee Sin's going for that gank. But with Jace's flash down, there's going to be a repeat gank, and it's probably going to be sooner rather than later. I mean,
It's gonna be right now.
It's going to be right now. He's going to path around through the tri-bush this time. Jace smells something is a little funny and backs off, and causing Labyrinth to back off as well.
Might have peaked him just a little bit with that river brush, but
But
he's
he's
gonna
still
get
here.
punished now.
Oh my gosh, Lavi is unrelentless.
Lord hops through the tri-bush. This time there's no vision.
no.
Bad Instincts using the E onto the
down.
Bad
Oh,
Instincts.
and
The Wither
Vi's
is
on the
about to come
way.
out as well. Lee Sin does not have the red buff this time.
Vi's here,
Flashes
Vi's here.
forward, trying to get the kill on the Lee Sin, but Vi's there for the counter gank. She still has red buff. She gets the first
Oh
one. Hillary
my
Clinton is
God.
diving at level 4. He takes 2 tower shots. He's really low now too. Bad Instincts is getting in, and that's going to be a double kill onto the Vi. Disastrous play for POO.
Yeah, disaster's definitely the word for it. You have the flash coming off the Nasus, equalizing that lane summoner. Double kill going on to Vi. She's just going to become a monster now with this next buy. And Jace survives all of it to top it off with just no health to speak of. Just a little bit of a whisper of health.
Picking up an early
Well, and,
Executioner's Calling too, just to cut down that passive lifesteal onto the Nasus.
Yep.
Interesting buy.
He's talked about this lane all the time, and he that's his first item every time against Nasus, against Darius, against anybody who relies on that sustaining lane.
And it's going to
now,
be painful,
this
absolutely.
This freeze is humongous for the Bad Instincts. I know he likes to play aggro and push, but now is your time to just farm, my dude. Because this is so good for you.
Oh, and Nasus coming back. He's got boots, cloth, and a Doran shield, and he's not going to be able to get anywhere near this CS without getting severely punished. One of the nice things about Jace is you can sit there, poke him a little bit in hammer form, or not, I'm sorry, you can poke him in the ranged
We do have
form.
a gank coming in. Leafs in, Q's in on the minions, and leaves.
Just exerting his pressure, flexing on him a little bit. He has to show off the gods and Leafs again.
Side note. This is a
Oh,
random
yeah.
side note. My favorite cast that I think I've ever heard from you was in the game last night when Xerath was trapped in the Baron pit. You're just like, and they're just gonna let him go? Like, I cracked up when I heard that.
That was
I mean,
a
hey,
weird play.
it was a weird play, but I think it was just like a vision thing for them because we didn't.
Oh, yeah,
we didn't go back and
100%.
look at the vision, so I think it was just a vision thing for them.
Yeah, it was just
fun
really
to call.
funny.
No, they see Nasus
and
getting
he
punished
dives
here.
in, gets knocked away from his own tower. He withers, trying to just get around, but he doesn't have flash. He's got to walk away, and he is super low, trying to pop that healing potion. But the Grievous Wounds is going to knock out some of that.
Oh.
Hey!
Oh, and the shockwave comes out and kills him under his own turret. This is big trouble for Hillary Clinton early on.
And this is what we're
Yeah.
going to see more and more. I mean,
Lee
Nasus
Sin
wants to
comes
get
in the
that
gank
farm.
again, does get the Q on the Alistar, and leaves again.
Nasus cannot walk up for this farm because that's the beauty of being able to switch back and forth between the ranged and the melee form on Jace. You can poke him a little bit, or you can hard commit with that EQ combo. When you use two disguise, you're going to just be decimating that health.
Well, and Jace does so well with lead, but he also does so well into any melee laner who struggles to all in Jace early. Like, oh, I don't know, Nasus?
Yeah,
Like,
one of the beautiful things is depending on how he positions with that to the skies and then the knockback, or actually am I using his abilities backwards? His EQ combo, he can actually completely negate that wither if Nasus is trying to use it to gain some kind of an advantage on you. You can knock him
Absolutely.
back away from his turret, you can kind of knock him into wall to just gain a little bit of a buffer. but it also does an incredible amount of damage. And Nasus, even with Executioner's culling adding in, without it, he wouldn't be able to sustain through that because it's just too much burst coming through. And then as we saw that EQ to clean it up, I mean, you can't hide under the tower there. Jace is going to get everything he wants from this trade now, and you see it in the CS.
And the 2-level lead that he's got on the Nasus.
Oh yeah, he's probably gonna rush Duskblade too, which is just gonna make this lane even worse for Nasus.
Oh, we have a
Victor's
fight
in
happening
a
in the
lot
mid
of
lane.
trouble.
Victor is outside of us. He tries to flash
dude.
forward into the wall, tasting the wall. Hiramar is going to fall now. Labyrinth coming in just a little bit late, trying to help him out, but there's nothing he can do. He has got to walk away now. Yeah, and I wonder if
Victor
he's
death
got to get
animation
his
is so
teeth fixed
sad.
now from that flash into the wall.
Can I tell you how many times I flashed into walls in last night's split? I was so tilted. When I subbed for Boost Gorilla Monkeys, I was so tilted. I flashed into the wall like 7 times.
I mean, you have to be careful. You have to watch a lot of Dire stream to get those big fat wall flashes down.
See, I can get the big fat wall, but like, I'll fail flash over a little skinny wall. I'm like, God dang it.
All right, yeah, you have to be a little concerned here, though. I mean, even with the team that Pooh's got drafted, we're looking at coming up on 10 minutes here, not even there fully. 3.3 thousand gold lead. I mean, this is a pretty large lead to start out with, and it's all on the top side of the map. You've got Jace is pretty far ahead, Vi very strong right now, and the Azir maybe not stronger than Hiramar, but still strong enough to be a threat.
I like the Moby Boots choice for general build. We were talking a little about move speed delta last game. Well, by we I mean me, but it's kind of the similar idea with Vi. You want to get in range to be able to ult or be able to get into your Q, and the slow, the self-inflicted slow from charging up your Q, it kind of negates some of that. So it really helps general build to get in and deal his damage. It doesn't really help him get out because of the slow that comes once you taken damage or dealt damage, but I really like the choice, especially when you're ahead. Use it, get your ganking boots, and just go keep ganking lanes. And
it's also enabling Dill to keep that farm up. We see Dill creating even more of a farm advantage. Early game, we were kind of a little bit questionable about that decision to take some of the camps, but now with the boots and mobility, you're able to take that farm and still make it to a lot of these plays as they're developing.
Oh, and it definitely worked out in his favor because Badisnix was able to absorb pressure on the first gank to allow General Bill to get there for the second gank with a level advantage, because he was level 4 for that double kill at top lane, which makes a huge difference. You know, the extra level in whatever ability that you're maxing makes a huge difference.
And we're starting to see, again, the strength of this Misfortune coming through. You have Alistair's roaming, trying to make these plays, and Misfortune is still poking out and applying a lot of pressure and really making them play scared. 1 versus 2 in that bottom lane.
So if you want to know last game about scaling comps, I mean, I think this is my opinion, but I think we're in a little bit of a similar situation, but even worse off for Pooh in that they are behind now, even more so than they were last game.
Well, the biggest difference is they don't have a scaling jungler this game, because the Maokai is so good late game, but Lee Sin is not nearly as good. Either Lee Sin will blow up somebody late game, or Lee Sin will die late game. It's not like Maokai who
still have the potential for the late game, and the Tristana will become a hyper carry late, not necessarily the scaling. I mean, she does scale very well, but really once you get the items on her, that's what we need to look out for, is just these item break points for Tristana. Infinity Edge looks like that's what she's working on first, not a bad item to get out there, but then once that attack speed starts coming out and she's able to just dish out damage quickly, that's where we may start to see even some of these fed members of Big Anime Titties, they can get punished very quickly. That explosive charge is just, it's very brutal.
Oh yeah, but it all comes down to how the team fights are played out, because if Misfortune is given enough safety and enough stability to be able to stand there and channel full bullet time, it doesn't matter what damage Tristana's doing, team fight's going to be lost at that point.
It's a good pink ward use over that wall to get some vision. Oh, and Bear is resetting that dragon attempt.
Resetting the dragon. Nope, they're still going to get it. We have a teleport coming in from the Jace.
He's going to be stunned immediately. Cancel.
Should have canceled that teleport, I think. That's,
he's going to teleport bot to run back top.
He's showing that team solidarity there, just making sure that if anything crazy was going to happen, he's going to be there.
That's a zoning teleport.
A little bit of a CS lead, but
the 21 gold TP, but he's up so much CS in this lane.
Yeah, he can afford it, absolutely.
TP, but he can afford it in this situation. It's one of those plays that I wouldn't advise making every time, but in this case, yeah, it works out fine.
We do have a gank possibly happening on the Jace here. He's going to transform, use the gate, try to get away, and he will get away, and they're going to give up on that chase. They don't want to go into the enemy jungle there.
Yeah, the nice thing about playing that far
Navi
ahead
might
of the
be caught out
Jace and
now.
securing the Ocean it's going to help
We
him
do
in
have the
lane.
Lee Sin getting caught out. He's super squishy.
wow.
Gets deleted
Oh,
immediately
my
by General
God.
Do, who's got a full jungle item. And they're going to keep going to him. Hillary Clinton gets knocked away from his own tower as he tries to get in. That's an assist now coming for the Azir. That's 2 kills in the top lane. OP channels the bullet time, and Bear Jr. has to flash away. So we have fights happening on both sides of the map here.
I think we're going to see very quickly now this first tower bonus gold coming across the big anime titties. You've got 3 up top, 2 very strong pushers. You're going to have this coming down. And again, we're past that 10-minute mark now, coming up on 13 minutes. But this gold lead just keeps growing and growing. You know, we're starting to get closer to a 5,000 gold lead.
And and they scale so much better than the last game too, because Jace will outscale Malzahar, Vi outscales Lee Sin, the Azir outscales Zed. Like, their comp just scales so much better than it did last game. So now they've got, you know, about 5.5k gold lead or so. I expect 20, 22 minutes in, that gold lead's going to be a lot bigger, because their comp's going to be able to do more in the late game than it was last game.
And this is where I think Hillary is going to get punished a little bit. You know, still work towards that Triforce, still try to get those items you want, but you're sitting on that cloth, you're sitting on the boots, get that Ninja Tabi. Jace is going to be doing a lot of auto attack damage. You need to mitigate as much of that as possible because you just got erased. I mean, it was a dive.
The Bard and the Lee Sin getting collapsed on here. But they are going to get away safely.
A fairly interesting itemization from Jingle and Jane, in my opinion. Going with the Berserker's Greaves, not that attack speed's ever a bad thing to have on Azir, but it's kind of interesting that he's going that route and going for Morello's first. I don't know. I don't know Azir itemization right now, but is Nash's Tooth not the rush anymore?
I know at one point Asher's Tooth was. I think people have been experimenting a little bit. I definitely am not a authority on Azir myself.
Me neither.
But I've been looking at the build a little bit and wondering if he might have been able to get something else. Oh, but the Jace poke coming through.
Here, Mark
already
back to
seeing-
lane, immediately chunked down to less than half.
I mean,
Feels
he's
bad, man.
gone back and he's got already completed. His inventory is going to hurt.
Yeah, I guess the damage is still there, and I guess you have mana for days, so maybe
we have
he
Nasus
does
getting
something I
ganked
don't
again
know.
by the Vi. Ults him. Jace is going to come out, slow up to just get the kill onto him, and they're just bullying this top lane out. Just they said we didn't get the Nasus to far enough behind in the last game, so we're gonna really shut him down this time.
Well, it's a better pick in the Nasus. Not that Malzahar was bad, but Jace just 100% poops on Nasus, and we're seeing it here. Not that because Hillary Clinton's a good Nasus player, Van Sneaks is a very good Jace.
And that Duskblade, you're seeing that extra burst damage coming through. Not that it was even needed yet, but that's going to really help Jace anyways. He wants to poke from Fog of War. He's going to be able to reset that vision constantly, and you're going to see huge chunks of health falling off every time he lands that accelerated gate shock blast combo.
I would love to know. It seems like they had this Vi pick in mind. I would love to know if maybe they had some kind of counter to this Lee Sin Nasus top that they're going for. Lee Sin just getting bursted out immediately because he's super squishy. Incredible.
Because I think if I know Dylan, I don't think that was the mindset. I think he fully expected to play against Lee Sin and was like, Vi will be fine. Not necessarily he prepared it as a specific counter, but just kind of yo, this will be fine. I'm good at this champ. I cannot play him. But I 100% am confident that the Jace pickup was anticipating another Nasus pick by Hillary Clinton, because I know that that's his go-to counter for Nasus.
The zoning bullet time coming out, interestingly enough.
Can we start to call that the Piper bullet time?
Yeah.
The Piper's piping as you hear the misfortune laugh coming out.
The Piper time. We're gonna call it the Piper
here too. And this Vi is so strong right now. Even under this tower, they could pick out any one of these people and just delete them.
Oh, you saw the damage from Vi on Nasus top lane, who has armor built. If Vi gets onto random guy, you know who. I guess he has some armor built.
Rift Herald actually coming out on this top lane. Bard. Oh,
The
nice
outplay.
job from Bear Jr. outplaying the Rift Herald charge with his ultimate, but unfortunately they are going to lose this tower here. The Rift Herald, I mean, that's what it's for. And they're gonna
Now the funny thing there though is he may have done a favor for Big Anime Titties because he stopped that tower from falling immediately,
but
he's conserved the health of the Rift Herald, so now it's
Yeah.
going to be a huge chunk coming out.
Charges again. Wow, into that tower. And we have Lee Sin getting caught out in the mid lane yet again.
Erased, deleted.
And they're
Oh my God, I
desperately
didn't
trying to
even
get
see it.
this. Perhaps, yeah, should have saved that Bard ult for this tower here, but the Rift Herald's going to get 2 turrets now in the bot
Gonna
lane.
charge his
They're losing
third
a
one
lot.
well if they're not careful. And this is
He's
what
gonna
you
get a
do.
third charge. Oh my gosh.
If you're ahead like this with big anime titties, you keep this pressure up. You keep punching them down. If you want, you fall back now. You can take this dragon that's up. It looks like it should be an inferno.
Hiramar is probably going to die.
Or do
this
they
time.
know
He
him?
splashes under turret, has the ult, deletes Hiramar, and they're going to take this turret now.
Does he live?
Oh,
Does
but
he live?
the Ignite actually does get him.
Oh!
Incredible play by Hiramar, to be fair. I mean, he gets the trade at least.
R.I.P. the perfect game.
Ooh, it looks like they're
And
just going to set up.
turret's going to come up, and they're just going to siege this mid tower here, and there's really not a whole lot they
Absolutely.
can do, and they have almost,
They're wave-
yeah, no Victor wave clear to help them.
Their wave clear's gone. Victor's their wave clear. It's kind of like the whole idea against when Anivia's in a match.
Oh my god! Oh, he
Oh
just deletes
my
the Lee Sin,
gosh.
who's super squishy yet again. Who actually did build the jungle item this time.
Hey, he built a tracker's knife.
And
Where's
keep
the-
in
I
mind,
think
they're
for the
getting a
chat,
lot of
that's
gold
like a
advantage.
moral victory,
Right.
for Labyrinth.
But this Nasus is starting to get farm now up in the top lane. Hasn't completely caught up yet to the Jace, but where we saw Nasus down 50, 60 farm earlier, I mean, he's starting to close that gap. Oh,
He actually
wow.
has more. He actually has more stacks at this point in the game than he did at this point in the game last game, which is kind of an interesting variation on it. But I think it's more because Bad Instincts has left top lane and is just helping his team snowball the rest of the map.
And Bear
So
Jr.
actually-
winning a big consolation prize for his team right there, getting out the Bard Q and
Oh,
stealing
he got the
away
dragon?
that Ocean
Oh my
Drake.
gosh.
Oh, we missed that. I'm terrible.
No, that's, I
No,
mean,
don't tell
it
yourself
snuck
that.
in there. It snuck in there, but I mean, you want to talk about a demoralizing way to end off a great series of plays. You're still coming out of it, though, almost 10,000 gold ahead, so you can't be too upset. But yeah, wow, Bear really making the plays, trying to at least gain some value back for his team.
I love the puns happening in chat right now. The tide has turned with the Ocean Drake capture.
All right, now let's take a look at the itemization coming out because we just had a lot of gold coming through. Black Cleaver completed on Jace now. A finished Trinity Force on Vi, going very aggressive with the Warrior Enchant. Morellonomicon finish and Haunting guys, so a lot of cooldown reductions, great. You've got a little bit of magic penetration. And you even have the Duskblade that's finished onto Misfortune now. I mean, just a lot of damage that is coming through. They've already been
Absolutely.
catching out quickly and securing kills. This is just going to expedite that process, and they're going to start really shoving down these lanes, hopefully.
Right, and I think they're at the point now where they really wanted to be last game at 20
Yes.
minutes, 10,000
Yes.
gold lead. Oh, no, excuse
Absolutely.
me, like a 9,000 gold lead.
Absolutely. This is the snowballing that they had to do last game and won that last game.
And this
It's a
is
shame,
they're
like-
also controlling rotations. That's the thing I'm liking is you see Jace has pushed up. They've sent people to try to react to that, and now we have middle pressure coming out.
It's a little bit of a shame because I think if the Anime Titties plays the mid game this way last game, they win. And if they play the mid game last game that they played this game, they might still have a chance to win the first game too. Like, if you trade middle games of both these games, the Anime Titties are playing a very good series. They're still playing a good series. Like, they've shown improvement.
Uh-oh, Vi's looking for Bear here.
Gonna
Oh,
ult onto Bear Jr.
the exhaust is coming out. It may not be enough to get him out.
It's not enough. The team collapses on him. Nasus is way
That's
out of
fair.
position as well. The Zero throws him away from his tower. He ults anyway. The entire team on the side of Big Anime Titties is going to collapse on the Nasus. Hiramar's way out of position as well. He's going to get caught. The Misfortune ult does get canceled. I think he
canceled.
flashed away from it. But it doesn't
No, it
matter.
was-
They're going to drop 3 members of
This is
POO
a
right
cool
there and look up to
want it.
siege this tower. Or move to Baron?
Yeah,
Baron's
very
what you do
clean
here.
Baron
You
if you
have a
want it. Lee Sin is the only chance you have of stealing that, and with the damage that you have coming out on Big Anime Titties right now, I mean, 14 kills, only 1 kill so far on the side of POO. I mean, you invite Lee Sin in. You say, hey, come try to steal this if you think you can.
Labby's gonna try.
He's gonna
Jace
try.
is just-
He's too late though. Jace is gonna come out and zone
He's
him out.
gonna get
He's
killed.
super low. He flashes away. The Jace, caught up in his own minions, has to back off a little bit, and they do secure the Baron on the side of Big Anime Titties.
So you were talking in that fight, by the way, about Misfortune's ult getting canceled. Fun fact: Victor's ult stops channels, so he ulted right on top of OP as he casted his ult, which is what stopped the ulti, just so you know.
Oh, what do we have going on here?
Bear Jr. trying to ult onto Bad Instincts, but misses, tunnels
He just
through
gets
the
blown
wall.
up! Oh,
Chase, 3 members. Oh, and Labyrinth does
he
fall
gets
for
a
that.
return kill though.
4 members trying to kill just the Jace onto that team, and he turns it around on them still. Hiramar actually doing a good play there, throws the stun onto himself, but Violet comes out. She's unstoppable. She gets the kill onto Hiramar. They're going to move forward to Bear Jr. He's going to tunnel through the wall, and he's going to get out of that, and they're just looking up to siege this mid tower now with this Baron buff.
That was a very interesting interaction.
It's actually a great use of the assault and battery right there on the Vi. I mean, you saw Victor's trying to create a little bit of distance there. He's trying to use that graviton field. But the great thing about the assault and battery is it cannot be stopped. So he kind of uses it to cancel out that animation.
Even though she still got stunned. Like, she still got stunned, it just looked really weird.
Oh, and there you
Knockup
go.
comes out onto Bear Jr. He uses his stopwatch there, and he's still going to fall as well. The inhibitor is going to fall as well. With this Baron buff, they might be looking to finish this game right now in 23 minutes here. They're looking at a win. And they're going to choose to just back off and go for this bottom tower
Yeah,
instead,
they're going
which
to play
is
it
a
the
better
safe
call.
way. It's not a bad idea. You get those 2 inhibs. It's going to increase the pressure.
Well,
It's
Victor's
time
back
for
up,
Jace
so
to
the
get
wave
in.
clears there.
Using the graviton field to try to create some distance, but
Even with
doesn't
that
matter.
wave
They're just
clear,
gonna
I mean-
move in. They're going to chunk out this tower, massive
Yeah.
damage onto it.
Jason Misfortune, they can destroy these towers.
They're going to keep moving onto this tower, and the tower does fall. Now they're moving on to the inhibitor. Vi flashes forward, trying to go in on the Nasus. They ult on the Nasus. Oh, wow, the Bard ult actually comes out, stops. The only thing that can stop the Vi ult, the Bard ult, but they are going to move on to these guys. Jace diving under the tower. He's taking tower shots. He's probably going to die here. He doesn't care.
down. OP's down.
Jingo's going to get the kill there, and they're just moving on to this inhibitor. And are they going to move on to the towers, or are they going to choose to back off here?
They can still push here. I mean, Vi has that Trinity Force. She can put out a lot of damage on these turrets.
And Azir still does too.
They're looking at the Azir. Meanwhile, they're losing Nexus turrets. No, there's really nothing they could do to stop the Vi and the Alistar. Alistar heading back just to get that last hit, and they're going to choose to back off after taking the 1 Nexus turret. And that's a great push.
You have to be careful here. Vi's out of mana and Azir's out of health, so both those combined, you can very easily throw it. I think they fall back, pick up this Cloud Drake, just kind of reset, and there's a big top wave that if OP wants it, OP can go ahead and pick up.
And now we're looking at about a 13,500 gold lead on the side of Big Anime Titties. We will say that Bear Jr. Poops in the Woods is in a hole right now, and they're going to have to do a lot of digging to get themselves out.
Yeah, well, really what we could say with this Vi so far ahead is I think Bear Jr. in the Woods, they're in a little bit of a pickle.
Nope. Nope, that doesn't work.
Doesn't work?
Nope.
Well,
Pickles grow on farms, not in woods.
well, Bear Jr.
I said that like pickles grow. Like
they've definitely found something in the woods that they didn't want to be dealing with.
Okay, here I got one for you guys. Bear Jr. Poops in the Woods is in a little bit of truffle.
Oh lordy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All right, can we get hashtag truffle in the chat? Thanks.
Hashtag fire joystick.
All right, back to the game. Enough memeing. Enough memeing. That's totally unprofessional, guys.
No, come on.
Right now, yeah, I mean, just Big Anime Titties cleaning up the map, actually going into Bear Jr.'s woods and just taking whatever they want right now.
See,
to their credit, Bear Jr. They do have good like ward coverage in their jungle, but I mean, it's not going to do them much good here.
They do have decent wave clear now with the Tristana static shiv and with Victor starting to get a lot more of his items online. So I mean, the elements are here to potentially stall, but it's gonna be very tough on Bear.
They're on a timer though. You have that mid lane gone, that bottom lane gone. Those super minions are gonna be pouring in, and this Nasus is not built up to deal with it. A 061 Nasus has Ninja Tabi and a Triforce to his name. It's gonna be a slow
we do have
clear.
General Dill just decided he's gonna dive right in. Bard ults onto them, stuns them both up, but Hiramar's just gonna die anyway. He uses his Zonias. Azir pushes people into the tower because they want to keep fighting. The Misfortune ult comes out, and they're gonna delete 2 members of the team on Bear Jr. Poops in the Woods. They've got 2 members back trying to defend their Nexus. Their Nexus is falling now too. Lee Sin possibly getting doped by General Dill. They're not liking it.
Yeah, it's the second time we've seen that Shurima Shuffle come out and just push people into the team.
And the Nasus is going to fall here as well. And they're moving on to the Nexus, and we're going to see if they're going to try to clean up these kills.
Why not?
Oh, Vi does go for the dive. They do get the Lee Sin. She dies as well. And that is game 4. Big Anime Titties with a convincing win in 27 minutes exactly here on Summoner's Rift. What an incredible series, guys. What an incredible series.
14,000 gold up at the end exactly. I mean, you want to talk about a dominating win. That is how you take control of a game.
Incredible. Okay, so actually we already have the poll. Looks like we already have the poll up in chat. So why don't you guys head over there?
MVP of the stream is John. It's a Bison for doing that polls. Thanks, my dude.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. Actually, that's super helpful.
So
I'm gonna cast my vote as well. I don't know if casters get a vote, but I'm casting one anyway.
I vote every time, so
MVP for me. I don't know. It's tricky because Bad Instincts did a lot of work on that Jace, obviously, but a whole lot of the reason why he was able to was because of the counter gank outplay that General Dill made about level 3, level 4 top lane, and so I think I have to give it to General Dill, just because like that play happened, and then he just kept on making plays across the map and showing why, why his team in the first split was called Team Vi.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of great plays there. And even going back to game 1, I think a lot of the early success that we saw was from General Dill. So if I really had to give an MVP of the series to anybody, it's got to be General Dill. Even though they didn't win the first game, I mean, they really set behind the snowballing advantage of POO and made that game take a little bit longer than it maybe needed to.
Interestingly enough, it would appear, I mean, Bad Instincts could possibly sneak up here to steal it away, but it looks like General Dill is probably going to be the winner here. And if that's the case, then we have both team captains from both teams here as not only captains but players of the game.
Yeah, it's something close. And Dringo and Chain actually getting 3 votes. That's the one thing I will say. His Z was very good. He played very well that game. Had good pressure. Was able to make a lot of plays with it. Showing why he picked it. It's not necessarily something that's meta, but
some great Azir ultimates coming out again. Yeah, that Shurima Shuffle. You reposition, you get somebody pushed out, and it doesn't really matter who it is. I mean, with a Jace that's that fed, you're going to be able to kill somebody.
All right. Okay, so I guess we could give it like another minute or so on that poll, and then we'll invite these guys into the player of the game interviews here, and we'll close out we'll start closing out the stream. So if you guys are just joining us, that was the end of week 3, game 2 of Bear Jr. Poops in the Woods versus Big Anime Titties. Bear Jr. Poops in the Woods had a come from behind victory in the first game, but Big Anime Titties in the second game absolutely just shut out Bear Jr. Poops in the Woods with a convincing win in 27 minutes. So we're definitely looking forward to talking to these two teams about how their strategies were and what their picks and bans were like. So we'll get into that in just a moment. But I'm going to throw it back to you guys. Highlights. Let's talk about some big highlights. Let's start with you, Growlywog. What do you think? What's some highlights from one of those games for you?
I mean, absolutely. We hit on it a little bit earlier with Guy. I mean, the Vi showing up, that's what we wanted to see. Maybe a little bit later. Good instincts, actually, there on instincts to avoid that first gank. And I'm not sure if it was just planned to try to let Lee Sin get in there on the secondary gank or just great positioning from the Vi. But the ability to turn that around, what looked like a really surefire kill for either the Lee Sin or the Nasus, and get a double kill to start snowballing that game. I think it was all downhill from there. I mean, just really taking control of the game and showing why he's the captain of the team, really leading them to a decisive victory.
Guy Fieri, what do you think? Highlights for you?
Bear Jr. is a god? No, seriously though, the flay to take General Dill out of his Q follow was just absolutely disgusting. Like, that was mechanically the best play of the series.
Yeah, I would say Bear Jr.'s. For me, Bear Jr.'s mechanical play on the Thresh was probably it was a joy to watch. It really was incredible.
Oh my god.
But I will say General Dill really, really showed up on that Vi in that second game, and that was a pleasure to watch as well. Just him just diving in and really making plays for his team. And I would imagine probably doing a lot of the shot calling as well, but we'll find out in that interview.
And really quick before we start the interviews, it is going to be General Dill MVP Game 2. And I just want to say to all the viewers, it is 2 a.m. and we have 26 people watching now. You guys rock.
Hello.
This league has grown so big since this thing started, so thank you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, thank you guys for joining us tonight. We'll probably be done in about another 10 or 15 minutes. So if you want to stick around for that
Please,
interview.
God, not 10 or 15.
Okay,
Don't close the stream. Just keep rolling.
Oh yeah, definitely. No, definitely. We'll see how long it takes to talk to these guys. Oh, General Dill and Bear Jr. They just decided to jump into our chat, which is totally fine. So we're gonna actually just move right into the player of the game interview. I'm gonna throw it to trying to trade off. I'm gonna throw it to Guy Fieri for the first question. What do you guys think?
Putting me on the spot. Well, this is a good question actually. For I'm gonna send this to General Dill because you guys completely changed your entire comp from game 1 to game 2. Was that just kind of you guys wanted to get back to comfort and just play stuff that you knew you were good at and you know you had fun with, or was it like all kind of specifically planned as counters to what was coming? Or
I mean, you act like I don't play Lee Sin at all.
I'm not saying that that's not comfort for you.
No, I know.
Vi is definitely. I would say Vi is more comfort for you than Lee Sin.
It was definitely just a chance of we had a game plan going into. We really did just have a game plan for red and blue side, and red side it was just we can give up that Lee Sin, drop the Vi. I know Vi into Lee Sin. Vi does very well into Lee Sin. If Lee Sin can't pull off the pre-level 5 aggression in that jungle. And so it was just I know we can snowball. I know Nolan can play Azir, so it's great AP off the back line. We grabbed the Misfortune. OP's been working on it because it's just a really cancerous pick now.
Jesus, no kidding.
And when they left Jace up, we just said, "Oh boy, here we go again."
Well, I think Sebastian, correct me if I'm wrong. Oh, Sebastian's not here, but you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think that was the first time that Sebastian
since season 1, game 1, yes.
Since he played against your team, actually. I thought so.
My team when I wasn't there.
Yeah. Scale. Oh, you weren't there for that?
I wasn't in that game. We had a sub, and I told them beforehand Sebastian's a Jace 1 trick, and they didn't believe me.
Right. I thought that was the case, but I didn't be wrong. So,
Okay, I actually have a quick question for Bear Jr. here. Bear Jr.,
Yeah.
What were the comms like for you guys in the first game? You guys were kind of behind. Not too behind. Obviously, you guys won that game, but you guys were kind of behind, especially in the early games. What were the comms like? What were you guys talking about at those moments?
I believe we were just trying to keep everyone calm, just make sure we realized we weren't losing too much on the map, even though we were behind a little bit. We weren't down too much gold to come back from. Mm-hmm. We also realized we were trying to figure out what was our loss point there, what was making us lose, and it was vision. So we recognized that. Austin called for that. We started getting vision better. I started hugging pockets of vision to make sure that if they were coming to clear my wards, I could hook them. And luckily the Twitch and whatever just would walk by and just randomly get hooked. It was kind of a lucky comeback because they were just getting randomly caught out of position because of that change in our play style for getting more wards. I almost adapt to not buy so many pink wards if I'm losing, because it's really hard to defend them and it's almost gold inefficient because you don't necessarily get the value out of it if you can't defend the pink. So that's why I kept my fucking yellow trinket the whole time,
mm-hmm.
most of the time, and just try to get as many wards out as I could. And then instead of clearing all their wards, because clearing wards in a game you're losing is very risky. I just try to see where they warded and hug the outskirts and just sit in a pocket where it's near their vision but not in it.
Yeah,
so
and I think that definitely helped
around that.
I know we saw a couple of times that you were sitting there, you were hugging that mid lane brush wall right next to the Raptor camp. I think it was Twitch 2 times. You got a nice over the wall hook. Were able to cleanly follow up and just kind of start that snowball of a fight going in your team's favor. The one kind of question I want to segue into that first game, we saw the Misfortune come out. We saw it used to really great effect for that random guy, and then we saw you prioritize that Lee Sin over the Misfortune the next game. Then we saw it traded over to OP, and again I think we saw that Misfortune coming through pretty powerful right now, with her being one of the stronger AD carries in the game, what was that thought process like for the drafts for the second game?
Okay, so can I answer this first? Is that okay?
Yeah. Go
Okay.
for it.
Well, we saw them leaving both Tristana and MF open, so we weren't worried about the ADC pick at that point. So we knew Will was comfortable in both champs. He did perform well in Tristana anyway. He's 2-0-2 in a game we lost with pretty even CS. He was only 4 CS down. Props to him for that. Like, that was solid. The Lee Sin pick, I almost didn't want to go for it. I opted for taking it because I respected General Dill's ability to play Lee Sin almost entirely. If we weren't going to ban it, I banned the Nidalee. I opted to ban for the Nidalee instead because he's just been practicing it a lot recently, it looked like. So I like to ban out comfort champs like that just because if someone's going to make a mistake, it's going to be on someone they haven't practiced in recent games. So I just left Lee Sin open and decided to take it away from him for that choice. It was really risky because, like I said, if you look at our team comp, we had mostly skill shot based champions. I wanted to take Maokai instead. I don't know if it was banned that game. I don't think it was.
No, we didn't ban it.
So I wanted to take Maokai instead. That probably would have been a much, much better pick because then he can get guaranteed CC off. And then it's very hard for Jace to deal with a Maokai and a Nasus like running him down.
Yeah.
So, and I think Maokai outscales Vi too, because if Vi goes in for the ult, Maokai just follows up with the ult too. So it was a fault in my draft choice to pick the Lee Sin over Maokai.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know necessarily if that's the only thing we can fall back to. We did see some good positioning from the Lee Sin. And like you said, trying to deny General Dill, I think that was one of my strong points I saw in the early game for the first game, even though they weren't able to pull out the win. Definitely a lot of pressure that was being created there. So I can definitely see where that would come through. Now, Dill, I kind of want to go back to you now in talking about this jungle matchup as well. We saw that you were able to get back to the top lane just in time to show up and turn that one gank around, get that double kill for the team and really start to get yourself rolling. Can you just walk us through a little bit what your mindset is once you get that double kill and you're really starting to set up to try to take control of the game?
Well, I looked down and I was like, holy shit, I have almost 18,000 gold. So I just backed and got boosts of mobility so I could keep up map pressure and keep the ward coverage and be between lanes as fast as I could to help my teammates.
Dylan, I gotta say, I love when I hear like what your thought process is playing because it's so simple.
You get that gold, gotta spend it, and like we saw, definitely a lot of map pressure that was coming out here. But I mean, that's pretty much all I can think of right now. Guy or Joystick, anything else? Any other questions that you had, or anything we have coming in from chat?
Honestly, my brain is fried from playing a match and then casting a match. I'm trying to think. No.
Yeah, I'm just waiting to see if we have anything coming in from chat right now. Got Labyrinth showing you some respect there, General Dill, in the jungle. So
most of the talk in the chat is either about toes or about how Labyrinth actually built a full jungle item, which he's already answered. So
yeah, I told him to do that because when we're behind on Lee Sin, we need vision. So I just told him to get the jungle item, which is like he's not going to finish his Dustblade anyway in time before it to matter. So might as well just be a ward bot or a kick bot at that point.
So I got 2 troll questions. I can't decide which one to choose from.
I don't know if we should answer any of them, to be honest with you.
We're going to start with OBs. It's going to be how heavy was your bot lane, Dill, and how much can you bench?
I don't know if you've seen my bot lane, but it's probably the most boosted bunch of guys I've ever known. And in order to carry them on my back, I mean, I pretty much have to be able to bench an entire truck at this point.
Well, can we talk about Gert missing like 10 pulverizes? Oh, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. Just the trash talk going out.
We got like
pulverize the ground a few times. I just make fun of that because I play Alistar.
Okay, I think we're gonna go ahead and just end it on this one. It's late. and we did use up our 10 minutes here. So, but thank you guys so much. What a great series that was. It was back and forth, and you guys really played your hearts out there. So, thank you for putting on a great show for us, and good games to both of you guys. And hopefully, you guys can learn from your mistakes in this games and go back and keep improving. And we'll see you guys next week. So. Really looking forward to that. On behalf of myself, Guy Fieri, and Growlywog, I'm going to say thank you to everyone in chat for staying up with us tonight. We love you guys a lot. This was, again, we'll just recap. It was week 3, Pooh versus Bat, Bear Jr. Poops in the Woods versus Big Anime Titties. And we're going to close it out. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and we'll see you later.